Okay, what we're going to do is go through how to draw a pie chart. I'm actually going to go through the steps of calculating the angle and also drawing using protractor and pencil. You should have protractor, pencil, and preferably some compasses, because the diagram I'm going to do for this first one, I'd like you to reproduce and send in as part of the lesson. So if you need to, stop the video now, go and find the equipment you're going to need. We're also going to do a second table and quickly discuss what can happen when things don't go nicely for us, i.e. the numbers don't work out particularly well. So the first thing to think is we're going to have, and my first tip when we're drawing pie charts is make sure you know where the middle is. So draw a point when you're going to draw, where you're going to draw your pie chart. Draw the middle, take your compasses and draw your diagram accurately. Now this diagram is going to get replaced. I'm going to replace this with the one that comes out of the generation, the one I'm going to be using to create it. First thing to remember is the full turn inside a circle is 360 degrees. So we know that we need to calculate some angles, and the first thing we know is the total angle is 360 degrees. Okay. From there, we might have to look at this football team thing, and it's 24 people who asked their favourite football team. So we need to, now we're going to compare the two sets and create the angles needed. So the football teams we've got are 10, 14, 16, 24 people. That's what they said in the question. Now the thinking we need to take is most people will go with what is one person. So one person is how many angles? Well, I had to take the 24, and to go to the next line, I divided by 24. So I do the same thing to the 360, because these things are just the same as the ratios and proportions we were talking about before in previous terms. So take a calculator, calculate 360, and divide it by 24. Oop, I got a double. And I get 15 degrees for one person. That, if you're talking about nice at ones, this is normally something to work out fairly quickly. So if I've got 3 people, I've got 15 degrees, 3 times 15, if you don't know, do it on your calculator, is 45 degrees. 7 times 15, so I do 7 times 15 to calculate the angle for the Birmingham supporters, that's 105. Manchester United, 4 times 15 is 60 degrees. 2 times 15 is 30 degrees. And 8 times 15 is 120 degrees. Now before I'd start drawing the diagram, I would do one last check and make sure that all of these angles give me the full circle. I've got 120 plus the 30, 120 plus the 30 plus the 60 plus the 105 plus the 45, and it gives me 360. Okay, I've got my angles sorted and I'm okay and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to use my iMaths to demonstrate how to draw the diagram accurately. So they've got the same table, got the same answers, and they did it in the same way. So I've created the numbers, whizzed it through, and now we're going to draw the line. It doesn't matter where the first line goes. Some people prefer to draw it across, some people prefer to start at the top. It doesn't really matter which way round you present it. So let's go through and first of all put in the start line, and this is why I said it's worth marking where the centre is. They've just magically found the centre. On my diagram I have the centre marked and they've just put this line in. Okay, so we go back. First angle we need to put in 45 degrees. So you take your protractor, put 0 along the last line drawn, measure 45 degrees, put a mark. It might be on the circle, it might be inside, it might be out. That doesn't matter. Take your ruler and connect the centre to that point. Now they do something a little bit different to me now, and I'll show you in the video. As I go through, so they got 45 degrees like that. I would actually, as I do a section, I would label it with Liverpool, the group, the football team. And I often do it on labelling on outside for a number of reasons. One is colour often can be washed out. Some people can be colour blind. Trying to put labels inside sectors, sometimes you run out of space. So if you've left plenty of space around the outside of your diagram, it's easy to label on the outside. Now, rather than labelling it with an angle and saying what the angle is, the diagram represents the angle. But what sometimes you do, and you might see this in geography, is you may see them put the actual frequency or the quantity on the inside as well, on the outside as part of the label. So that has come from the data being measured, not the angle. Okay. From now on, I'm going to pretty much agree with the method they're showing. So next up, what angle we need is 105. So you put the protractor down, put the 0 along the last line, measure 105 degrees. There's a mark around there. Remember to keep counting up in the 5s. And then from the centre, turn your ruler and connect it through. And at this point, I would label that, put a spike out and label that Birmingham. Go again, put the angle in. We need 60 degrees now, so we mark the 60 degrees and draw the line in. And again, I would put a label there saying Manchester. Keep rotating round, find the 0 and measure 30 degrees for Arsenal. And I would put the label on at this point so I know which one it is. And the last bit, the part they've missed out is I would check this last angle. Was it 120 degrees for accuracy? Now, what they show is they've actually taken the angle, the labels on the inside, and they've coloured things. And like I said, if you put them on the inside, what often happens is you run out of space, and that can be a bit of a problem to read the labels, especially if people have been shading the diagram. Okay, so I actually will put it as labels on the outside with Liverpool. So with a little pointer, put Liverpool in, possibly put data on the label, and that's my pie chart drawn. Another problem with these is if you scan and send on pictures, the labels on the inside become a little bit more blurry, especially with more colour. Don't just use colour to communicate ideas, because some people are colourblind and things like this yellow and orange may be difficult for them to see. Or people who are a little bit have poor eyesight may have problems reading the Arsenal and the Manchester. So this is the pie chart I would like you to reproduce in your book. We've got the angles, but I'd like you to produce it